There's so many diets out there, and I hear about this in all the chronic illness groups, or just
Yeah.
everywhere. Everyone's like, oh, I'm trying this new diet. It's called the GAPS diet, or it's called, I have a friend who's found success using carnivore. Kind of wanted your thoughts on what do you
Yes.
think makes your diet?
What's my point of view on all this?
Yeah.
I do diet and lifestyle research. I have 4 dietitians on my research team. So we talk about these issues. Our point of view is we all have unique DNA, unique microbiome, unique toxin exposures. And we know that metabolically, humans are made so that we can eat a wide variety of foods, plant material, animal material, and we can survive not eating by burning our own fat. So we know the standard American diet is associated with steadily declining health. So that's pretty universal. It's a terrible diet. We can improve on that diet through many different forms. It could be the Mediterranean diet, the GAPS diet, the Wahls diet, any one of those levels, the AIP diet, McDougall vegan diet. And as long as you're doing the McDougall and the vegan diet with some supplements because you're vegetarian, all these diets will probably be a big step up from these standard American diet. I think people will do, in whether or not on a population basis, which diet is best. We think it's a little bit crazy making. As soon as you begin to say, my dietary plan is the best one, the only one, and everyone else is wrong, run away from that health and wellness expert, because we're all unique. When I'm seeing someone, I want to understand their spiritual needs and religious needs, because whatever diet plan I create has to honor that. And I'll pick a diet that they're willing to try, and I think is a reasonable first step. Now, typically, I will start with the Wahls or the Wahls Paleo, but I might start with the Mediterranean diet. Again, depending on their spiritual needs. And I may tell them that I think they would do best on a ketogenic diet or best on elimination diet. And if they want to start there, that's fine. But most of them will say, that's too big a leap. So we start with a more intermediate step and see how they do, and then we make progress. And we have had some folks discover that their cholesterol went up really high on the paleo diet, but they did really very well on my level 1 diet or a Mediterranean diet. This depends on your genetics, on your microbiome, and your toxic factors, and who you are spiritually and emotionally.
Speaking of supplements, you mentioned you have a whole supplement section in your book that kind of breaking down various common supplements like vitamin D, B vitamins, all of these things. So where would you start if you're kind of just getting into that?
I want people to know their vitamin D level, because humans have evolved to make vitamin D in our skin when the ultraviolet light hits our skin. Most of us are inside all the time for work, for leisure. And if we go outside, we put on sunscreen that blocks making vitamin D. So the vast majority are vitamin D deficient. Get your level. Work with your practitioner to get your level in the top half of the reference range. Another one, particularly if you've got any kind of mental health, autoimmune issue, or heart issue for that matter, I'd like you to get a homocysteine, which is a really lovely marker on the effectiveness of your vitamin B vitamin pathways. If your homocysteine is too high, then there are a number of B vitamins that we can suggest to try and get things improved for you.
Today, you mentioned the use of DMT. And I wanted to know kind of more your thought of using DMT, which is a psychedelic drug.
I mentioned that as a research.
Right.
So we're just going to say that's an interesting area of research. I'm not a proponent. It's simply because I wanted to update people on what's going on in the latest research. There are more people making the observation that there's research being done with the psychedelic mushrooms. And some favorable impact on mental health. We'll see where that goes. Very, very interesting. Mushrooms are really good for us. It's an edible mushroom because if you just go out eating any mushroom, you could easily get yourself a poisonous one.
What are some mushrooms that you would say maybe look into if you have some sort of like a neurological problem?
So lion's mane mushroom is really good. Cordyceps, chaga, reishi, shiitake. And my advice to everyone is have diversity. The more diversity we have in our diet, the better off we are. The reality is every plant, every animal that we eat is a mixture of compounds that are incredibly good for you and a couple that are not so good for you. If you eat the same thing every day, those toxic compounds will accumulate. But if I eat a wide variety of things, those toxic compounds will have it's called a hormetic effect. It improves how my cells run the chemistry of life, and it's not a problem. But if I had kale every day for the rest of my life, I would be eventually become seriously ill. If I had kale today, spinach the next day, parsley the day after that, lettuce the day after that, dandelions, then the compounds are not an issue.
So that's the thing, you mentioned it in your book, is to stick with it for 100 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a fast process. You can break
Correct.
your arm in a second, but it doesn't heal in a day.
And if you're going to do the intervention, it will be much more effective to actually do the intervention. So when you decide you're going to try and do the Wahls Protocol, read the book, do it 100%, basically 110%.
I have some viewer questions that I asked. I reached out to some of the people in my community, was pertaining to your 3 cups of green veggies a day. You do 3 cups of greens, 3 cups of sulfur, 3 cups of color. But one person asked this, and it got me thinking too. I've wondered this. When you say 3 cups of leafy greens, is that measured after cooking as 3 cups? Before. So it's just 3 cups raw.
Well, let me back up. So greens, you really have to double and then cook. So if that's going to try and get 3 cups of greens, you can have a really big salad, and you cover the dinner plate. That's about 3 to 4 cups.
Right.
And if you had 2 of those, that would be ideal. Then that's for a big, tall lady like me or a fellow like you. If you're a petite lady, 4'10", they'll never be able to get 9 cups.
Another viewer question I had was from one of my friends, Eleanor, and she was asking, do you think that blood type or heritage should be applied with autoimmune diets?
I have not found it to be a guiding principle that's much use. My advice is read widely, pick an author that resonates with you, try out their program. Of course, I'm hoping it will be mine, but read widely and see what your experience is. If you're going to do that program, be all in for 100 days, identify what symptom you want to track, and then make an assessment. I've already said it multiple times that it depends on your genetics and your microbiome and your toxic exposures as to which diet will be most effective, as to whether or not a elimination diet will be better, the ketogenic diet will be better, the Wahls Paleo, or if you're vegetarian or vegan, Wahls diet.
It's very individual, and that's partially what I love about your approach in your book, is that you make it very individual. It's a very individualized process. It's about you using this as a guide.
Finding
the truth for you.